Howdy all, I'm Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and welcome back, I guess, to my review, Skeleton Crew, more worthless Disney Star Wars with a twist. I was waiting for a couple of things to happen, and right on cue, Disney provides their usual crap. We're talking about the agenda. It's slight, but it's there, and it doesn't belong there, and also the pillaging of actual real Star Wars, but it's that kind of pillaging of something super obscure to make themselves look like we're real fans of Star Wars. Look what we did, yeah. That kind of bullshit that even I don't know, because as much as a Star Wars guy as I am, I can admit I don't know everything. And I don't pretend to dip into really far out there things that have been forgotten by most of time and pretend, oh yeah, I knew that. That's real thing there. I was ready to call on that and say, yeah, that was cool. I don't pretend to do that. I can admit when I don't know things. I know 6 movies, video games, and all that, and some comics here and there, but not a lot. We're talking later comics, not early New Hope 70s, early 80s comics, which is kind of what we're going to get into today. Anyway, so what are we doing with this episode today? It's more just the same. More of the same. Poor writing, average direction, where I will give the show the continued credit I give it. At the very least, the show moves along in a proper pace and direction. It doesn't cut back and forth to a million different story plots that leave you wondering, what am I watching here? No, the consistency of the movement is there, and I'll give it that, but it is hampered by very poor writing. Jude Law, wow. I will say it now, and I'll say it again as we go through it. Jude Law actually now is in the show full on with this episode, and man, he just mails it in. There's like zero effort from Jude Law in this. And anybody saying that, oh my God, Jude Law is putting forth such a dynamic and powerful performance, it's so nuanced. No, he's mailing it the F in. He doesn't care. For all his interviews, he's there for a paycheck. He's not there to do some sort of great new character or a rehash of an actual character from lore. He is there to get his paycheck. He's not remotely unique in this performance whatsoever. And everything else crammed in there is just retarded. So we might as well get to it. Once again, we're just going to go right through it. There's not even clips to be clipped out to make fun of. It's just mostly boring. And we continue that trend of someone who takes Star Wars toys out, puts them on a table, and I'm going to ask the new twist of this from last time. Then they take those Star Wars toys apart and reassemble them so it doesn't look like Star Wars, and then they still don't know how to play Star Wars. So that's what we got here. A lot of doesn't look like Star Wars, but Adam, there's X-Wings. Yeah, that doesn't make it Star Wars. It could be any ship. Replace it with any sort of ship, and it still works. That's one of the best arguments one can always make for Disney Star Wars. You can take out all elements, replace it with things that aren't exactly Star Wars, and it still works. But let's get to it. So we start off on Atten. I still think that's retarded. Somebody took at and made it Atten. You're a retard for making that up. The parents are now congregating to worry about the fact that the kids are gone. And what happens is a droid's going to show up, and during the conversation, it's revealed that for adults, they have no idea what's going on in their own world. As I predicted episodes ago, they still think the Republic, the old Republic, is still a thing because they've been cut off from the rest of the galaxy for their great work. And they keep talking about now the supervisor. So I'm sure that's the person who actually knows what's going on. Maybe they'll reveal it. Maybe they won't. Doesn't matter. It's bad storytelling and bad writing to begin with. Right, so a droid's going to come in and tell them the kids have broken the law by being taken off planet, going beyond the barrier, blah, blah, blah. And in that moment, you don't know until that moment, 2 Asian ladies stand up. Remember, little Lobot girl, those are her moms. Our daughter is away in space. It's the only part of that you get, but it's still right there. The agenda. This is a so-called kids show, but no, it isn't. It's made for childish adults. Why is that there? There is no logical reason to insert 2 moms for a family. There's no logical reason Unless you're there to virtue signal. That's all that is right there. It is a virtue signal, and it is also light indoctrination to let kids know it's okay if you have two moms. Yeah, it probably is somewhere out there, somewhat not an unusual thing to see in the regular world, but this is Star Wars. George Lucas never introduced the gay into Star Wars. But Disney, they're all about it. Anyway, so all the parents are going to wring their hands and cry, and then we're going to be done with them. We're back on random pirate asteroid base. Jude Law and the kids have now escaped, and we go through now a comical back and forth of them dodging patrols or, I guess, random pirates and other droids, drones, security bots to get out, filled with pointless banter. Also that we can introduce the idea that the girls don't want to trust Jude Law. They don't want to trust Jude Law because reasons. He was in a jail cell. And then the boys want to trust him because he's a Jedi because he can use the Force. Just so floppy-haired Wynn can keep doing that. Also, we can then have the kids fight with each other about trusting Jude Law. That's kind of it, and it's all done with very weak dialogue. Right, they're going to bump their way through the whole thing. Jude Law's going to use the Force a couple of times, and then they're going to make it to the ship, no problem, only to discover once they get to the ship, the kids won't leave without Nick Frost's droid. So they bully Jude Law into going back to get it. It's also that you could have Girl Boss Fern act like she's older and is able to be in control. It's more frustratingly annoying, bad character work because, as I said a couple episodes ago, there is really nothing you can do with these kids' characters other than have them be kids, be obnoxious, and in the end, miss their home. You can't have character development for 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds in adult situations because they're not adults. If this was a real children's adventure, you could have them go through children growth, but they're in an adult situation. So you can't really have that happen. Anyway, after they bully Jude Law to go get it, he's going to go back down to the pirate base, and they're all looking for him now. So somehow he manages to slip through everybody looking for him with just a hood on. And he's going to go find where they're keeping the droids. Because I guess he would know, because it used to be his base, he would know where the droids are kept. And after he finds Nick Frost's droid, they have a quick conversation of, I hate you, shut up, droid. And here's his character development so far. He doesn't like droids. That's his character development. He doesn't like droids. And as he's trying to get the droid out here, some rando alien, former crewmate, is going to come in and say, oh, is that you, Captain Jack? Captain Jack. We'll get to that in a second. It's a combination of basically Pirates of the Caribbean nostalgia and butchery of actual Star Wars lore. And what we're going to learn here is that this old dude seems like he's going to be a friend, but when Jack tells him I escaped from prison and I'm now taking this droid and taking a ship, the dude says, I'm going to call the guards on you. Now, I learned, I guess because I can't avoid certain things as I get ready to both watch the episode and prepare to give my take on this stuff, Alfred Molina is the voice of this alien. And the stands are going, oh my God, Alfred Molina is officially a part of Star Wars. I don't care. Alfred Molina, great actor, but I don't care that he's doing an alien with a super English Pirates of the Caribbean I-matey voice. It's ridiculous. It sounds stupid, but the childless adults, they love it. Right, so we leave for a moment there. We cut away right as Jude Law is going to react to the fact that the guy just threatened to turn him into the guards. And we cut back to the ship, and the kids are going, nuh-uh, yeah-huh, nuh-uh, yeah-huh, about whether or not Jude Law can be trusted or that he's a Jedi. Once more, weak writing for children. You either make the children sound too adult, or now you make them sound like annoying toddlers. Because that's all they're capable of in this show. Oh, what's going to happen, though, is Jude Law is going to be on the way back. He's being attacked. He's going to rough dock on the ship, and then we're going to have a very comical escape from the, I guess, space dock area because they're still attached to the fuel line and they can't quite get it off. So they're going to wrap it around stuff. They're going to pull a bunch of ships together. Other ships are going to try and shoot at them. A giant cannon's going to try and turn. Everybody's yelling and screaming. Jude Law says, we're going to go to a planet with a friend that can help me find your way home to your treasure planet at Atten. He's going to, I assume, punch him some navigator coordinates, because suddenly when they're turned away, they just rocket off into hyperspace. Boop. And then Urkel talks to the wolf captain alien dude and says, want me to go after him? He says, no, put a bounty on him. And then he rages off. All right, we're done with the pirates for now. So now we get time with Jude Law and the kids and Nick Frost droid on the ship while they're on the way to Rando Moon to meet new Rando alien. And in this moment, once again, we failed to get any true character development. We have Jude Law basically walking around after he makes some food and then gives the food to the kids and tells them where they're going and how they're going to find the planet, and the kids are all going to eat the food. He wanders off to the ship, explores a little bit. It's long, drawn out, and boring, as usual with this show, and then has a confrontation with Nick Frost droid about where do the kids come from? They really come from Atten? They come from some place. And then Nick Frost droid stretches up to full height and tries to threaten him, and it's all boring and pointless. It's faux character development is what it is. It's as though you have nothing really to tell about this character, so you're just going to have him have a word salad interaction about where do the kids come from with Nick Frost droid, where nothing actually gets resolved or this or that, other than the fact that he doesn't like Nick Frost droid and Nick Frost droid doesn't like Jude Law. That's kind of it. Then when he comes back, the kids have finished eating, and they're all busy arguing about whether or not they can trust him. He comes back and tells them they're on the way to the moon with the friend and this and that, and they all need to get some sleep. And, of course, in very bad humor, Furnace go, I'm not even tired. And then she cuts to her being asleep. Oh, but Adam, that shows that she's still just a kid. But it's bad writing, and it's obnoxious. She's obnoxious, and the other kids are pointless. So up to this point, let's just review what we've had from the kids this episode. Wynn just keeps calling him a Jedi and keeps saying the Jedi are awesome. You're great. We can trust him. That's such great character development. Neil continues to be the go along to get along, has no real personality except to be a sexual fetish for weirdos online and people making this show. And then there's KB with two moms. KB with two moms is not as is kind of on the Fern train of not trusting him. And as Jude Law in a new outfit is about to keep watch while they're going through hyperspace, which I find amusing. Suddenly, because kids need to get their sleep, suddenly hyperspace will take a few hours instead of just 20 minutes. Suddenly. No consistency in Disney Star Wars. Anyway, she's going to question him about why you're doing this. Tell me more about yourself. Why are you helping us? And are you a Jedi? Are you not? And he basically says to her, so we have this line so it can be used against him later by new weird little creepy alien we're going to meet in a second. He says, don't use your head, trust your gut. I'm here to help, this and that. And he uses it because she doesn't believe he can use the Force, because there was a big fight earlier about whether or not the Force is real for him and this and that, and kids saying, they were all going, you can use string, you can use repulsors, a lot of bullshit. He can obviously use the Force because he turns the lights off, says go to sleep, and KB's going to go to sleep. And then we're going to arrive at the moon, okay? We're going to arrive at the moon, and he puts in the request to the chick at the moon, and we hear her calling for a patrol to come and get them because she doesn't trust Crimson Jack. Turns out that's who Jude Law is. He's Crimson Jack. Now, before I get into the next part, let me just explain who Crimson Jack is, because I didn't even know who Crimson Jack was. Crimson Jack is apparently a very, very, very old character from the original Star Wars comic book run that was kind of a foil to our original heroes right after the Battle of Yavin. He was a pirate. He stole Han's reward money. He was a part of another battle here and there. But point is, he was a real Star Wars character. So once again now, Disney does what Disney does. They take something from real Star Wars and put it in Disney Star Wars, yet they don't do it proper actual lore justice. And then they do it without actually telling anybody anything so that they can then recraft it the way they want it. That's what they've done. Now, so that's Disney Star Wars in a nutshell. We know they always do that. They will always butcher and bastardize real Star Wars stuff and then claim through their shills and their fake fans, oh my God, I can't believe they're using Crimson Jack. Pretending you know who Crimson Jack was doesn't make you a fan. Because as I said, I didn't know who he was. Because I was too young to read the original comics run. And by the time I got into really Star Wars stuff, video games were happening, toys, that's all that was put in front of me. Either you knew about it back then or you didn't. And anybody claiming they knew about it and were shocked that he's Crimson Jack, you're full of shit. You're like me and came across it randomly to learn about it as lore. You're a fake fan if you say otherwise. Or you got to be a little older than me and maybe have been alive to actually buy those comics to know who he was. So that's there. So usual Disney Star Wars fare, bastardizing, butchering, pillaging. Right. So back on the ship as they come in, we'll call him Jack now. Won't call him Jude Law anymore. He's Captain Jack. Captain Jack. Captain Jack is going to say to them, first of all, there's a deal now. They need to make a deal with the kids. He's going to work for them and do what they say. Oh, isn't that fun? No, it's retarded. He's an adult with a blaster. Good Lord. And he don't really need the droid, Nick Frost droid. Anyway, so now there's whole thing. He says to them, now we're going to go see my old friend, but as they're leaving the ship, he basically repurposes Han and Lando from Empire Strikes Back. I don't fully trust her 100%, and she might betray us. She might stab us in the back, and the kids take it literally, and he has to say, no, not literally, and basically saying she's going to betray. He's laying the ground for what he's going to do in a little bit. So they're going to walk across the moon with some very childish cinematography that the stands are all drooling and touching themselves over. We get into the base. He talks his way inside, and the chick is now stalling him until the patrol arrives. They get in there, and pretty quickly we learn that this new alien is an owl-type alien. I don't know her name. I don't give a crap about her name. And he basically wants to make a deal to help find Ad-Ad, because she doesn't believe it, but then she looks at the kids and she sees where they came from with their insignias and the planet, and we learn about the jewels of the old republic. More made-up bullshit Disney lore that doesn't actually exist anywhere as far as I've been able to find. So the jewels of the old republic were planets that were so rich they were wiped from the galaxy star maps or destroyed, and the only one that's left is At-Aten. It's so ridiculous and stupid. But then again, when you understand this show is made for childish adults who want to pretend they're actual children flying around in Star Wars, going on a this and a that, then it makes sense. So after spotting an insignia on Fern's backpack and the information they get from the kids about the planet, she's able to compile some data about it. But while she's doing that, she gives it away through a tell that she's stalling so Patrol can get there. So Jude Law roughs her up, throws her around, shoots everything up, takes the disc, and they leave. Problem is, as they're now running back to the ship, because remember, the kids don't know what an X-Wing is. They don't know what the Empire was or the New Republic was. They don't know anything, because it's proven once again during the conversation they exist in a world pre-Empire on At-Aten. Here come a couple of X-Wings with some really bad CGI. Oh, it's god-awful. It's terrible. They don't even look like proper X-Wings. There's just something about them that doesn't look right. Anyway, the X-Wings come in, and immediately there's no tension in any of this, because I know somewhere out there right now, and they might even come around here saying to me, you wanted stuff to happen where there's a nice little chase scene where the X-Wings are going to chase the ship around on the moon, and there's zero tension because we know that the X-Wings know there are kids on board the ship. So they're not going to shoot the ship. So this whole chase sequence, after they force Jude Law to admit he's not a Jedi, he says, oh, I never really said I was a Jedi, and I'm like you, I'm lost and alone, I'm looking for where I want to be, and let's all get together, and I'll get a reward if I bring you home, I'm going to bring you home, these are her goons. After all that bullshit, they go through a little chase scene where he puts Neil in the driver's seat and KB has to plug in the coordinates for the hyperspace, and he puts Fern and Mophead Win into the gunner seats, and Win's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot. Fern's like, yeah, my shot, yeah, all that kind of bullshit. And there's no tension because the X-Wings aren't actually trying to shoot them down because you know it. You know it. They're not trying. They're not really shooting at them. So it's just a comical, worthless chase scene so that you can make the childish adult put their childish brain inside this childish show so they can think, man, I'm a kid in the gunner seat. Do pew, 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 pew. That's all it's for. And the childish adults are eating it up. It's ridiculous, boring, and stupid until they blast away again into hyperspace and get away. And then here come the X-Wings to land and admit we couldn't shoot the ship because the kids were in there. And they asked the owl alien thing, where are they going? He says, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. And then the episode's over. You're done. Are we having fun? I'm not. I hope you're enjoying my meltdown because that's what I'm here for. To roast this shit and lose it a little bit for your entertainment because you have to be a room temperature IQ and a childish adult to find this entertaining. It's butchering Star Wars, it's butchering storytelling, and there's no character development whatsoever. Oh, Jude Law, he admits in a moment of weakness that he's alone and he's looking for someplace too, and he's going to connect with the kids. But the problem is the kids have no character development. And Jude Law doesn't have really character development either. Nick Frost is a droid. The pirates are after them. What are they going to do? That Atten really isn't a treasure planet. It's socialism, communism, the planet. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? I don't know. And guess what? I don't care, but we're stuck here for another 4 or 5 episodes, I think. I think this is 8 episodes long. I really don't have much else to say. I've laid it all out, what they usually do. So they have introduced agenda again. They've introduced butchery of actual lore, and they continue upon a pointless story made for morons. That's simple. I'm going to say we're done here. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rambling in circles. So we'll be back next week with episode 4. I guarantee it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Because the fake fans in the stands, they're pretending they're on some wild, childish adventure when nothing is actually happening. They're going from point A to point B. It's bullshit comical crap. And these characters are unlikable. And the performances are stale. The writing is stale. And the direction is average to subpar. Other than that, I guess we're done. All right, we're done, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, take it easy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade. And follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.